What is bitterness? Bitterness is forgiveness that has not been given. I encourage you today, and God can do it in a moment. If you got unforgiveness in your heart towards somebody, get that thing solved. Because it's not until you learn how to love people that you're going to please the heart of God. A bitter root is a root that bears bitter fruit. And I'm hurrying here. Just give me like a couple more minutes. It's possible for seeds of bitterness to be sown in congregations, in communities. Why? Because a bitter mouth spreads bitter fruit. And when others eat of that bitter fruit, they themselves become bitter. Listen, when somebody comes telling you a story about something or somebody they know, you better not believe it. I think it was like Benjamin Franklin or Edgar Allan Poe or somebody who says, believe of only half of what you see and nothing of what you hear. Because people have agendas. People are not going to tell you the whole story. And we have let it affect the way that we look at each other because somebody hurt is coming to want to use our ears as trash cans and wanting to run somebody else's character down the road. And in a community that is chasing after the heart of God, that cannot happen. Because that is poison to the move of God. I want to talk to you about this fish real fast. This is how I'll end. There's a fish called the cichlid fish. There he is. Look at him. I guess that's a her because we're going to talk about it as a mom. Cichlid fish and a cuckoo catfish. That homie right there. They're in the ocean. And I was when we were in Reynoldsburg, I was watching Natural Geographic or Discovery Channel or something like this, and this short clip of these two fish came on. So the cichlid fish over here, they call it a mouth brooding fish, right? So when she has her babies, she keeps her eggs in her mouth, right? How many know that babies, eggs, that speaks for our purposes, talks about future. So she keeps those eggs in her mouth. The natural enemy of the cichlid fish is that catfish. And the catfish cannot overpower that cichlid fish. So what it does is it will come and it will attack. And in the middle of an attack, and they have video of this, look it up, it's insane. In the middle of that attack, all of those eggs in the mother's mouth, they fall onto the ground. And that catfish is so smart that it brings its own eggs into the battle. And when the mom drops the eggs of her fish, the catfish, the natural enemy of that cichlid fish, drops its eggs in the same pile. And after the fight breaks out, the cichlid fish, the mother, is just wanting to get all of her babies up, so she picks up her eggs and the eggs of her enemy. Time goes by. The catfish, the eggs, take a shorter amount of time for them to hatch and be born. But when they are hatched and when they are born, inside of the mother's mouth, that catfish begins to eat the eggs of her baby. It gets worse. When the catfish is done eating the eggs that are in the mouth of the cichlid fish, it comes out of the mouth, and the mother is convinced that that is her child. So she begins to protect the child of her enemy because it was born out of her own mouth. And it begins to protect it from other enemies. She has no idea that the thing that she's holding onto destroyed her future. And how many times have we gotten into an altercation, a confrontation, and things were spilled on the ground, and in aggravation and in frustration, you picked up whatever you could find to put the pieces back together, and you had no idea that you were picking up bitterness. And that bitterness began to eat away at the destiny that God has called you to do, the very purpose and being for your living. It begins to be eaten in your mind. Your thoughts begin to change. You lose that Holy Spirit quickening inside of you to go get the thing that He's calling you to get. It's because you are raising the son of your enemy in your own mouth. What is your mouth saying? You want to know what is being born out of your heart. You want to know if you've got bitterness. Listen to your thoughts. Listen to your talk. And if you can't help but to gossip about people, if you can't help to talk about all the things that you don't like, if you can't help to negatively see everything in the world, I've got news for you. You've got bitterness. You've got eggs of enemies in your mouth that are being born with every word you say.